bueno que están con nosotros. Vamos a hablar con Evan Mark Katz sobre cómo reconocer a un hombre emocionalmente no disponible. Porque es probable que muchas de ustedes estén en una relación con un hombre así o no han podido consolidar una relación porque ese hombre es así. Y les vamos a explicar cómo se maneja. El día de hoy vamos a hablar de cómo hacer o cómo manejar a un hombre que está emocionalmente no disponible. Because what I'm thinking, Evan, is that there's a lot of women out there that are in a relationship with a non-emotionally available guy that want to build a relationship with a guy with this profile and haven't been able to and don't understand why. So welcome back to the show, my friend. And let's start with, what does an unavailable emotionally guy look like?
I think that I want to lead with this because it's really important. Everybody's petrified of making a mistake. No one wants to get hurt. No one wants to waste time on the wrong person. And people are looking for signs right up front. How can I tell from his Tinder profile that he's emotionally unavailable? And that's not how it works. I wish it was how it works, right? Everybody's looking for, like, what's the shortcut? But there isn't a shortcut. And that's the unfortunate truth. You actually have to experience someone. Very rarely will someone tell you up front, don't waste your time on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So there's a saying that we talk about in Love You: believe the negatives, ignore the positives. Right? So what would that mean? Believe the negatives is basically telling you, guy says, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm not in a good place right now. Not sure I ever want to get married again. You're too good for me. Right? All these basic, he's basically giving you a warning shot. He's not going to say, stop seeing me.
Yeah, exactly.
He's kind of letting you know.
And we've got some more, like the typical, let's take it slow.
Right. Why do we need labels?
Well, yeah, exactly. Why do we need to define what we are?
Right. Isn't this great, what we have here?
No.
Right. And so when you could date a guy who's cute, smart, funny, rich, etc., but if he's giving you those things, Love You teaches you, believe the negatives, get out before you go too far down the road. There's no value in taking that risk because there's enough decent men out there. There are enough relationship-oriented, emotionally available men that you shouldn't have to go through the yellow tape and the orange cones that are warning you. Just pay attention early on and you could avoid making big mistakes later.
Okay, I adore you. I adore you. So you cannot overlook the obviously sometimes not so subliminal alerts and symptoms. When a guy says that, it's because probably he isn't emotionally available.
Yeah, and most people conceive of themselves as good people. So it's really easy to say, how dare this guy waste my time? How dare this guy use me? This is him giving you a warning. Remember, he's not going to just put up a sign, don't date me. It's not in his self-interest. So he's going to reveal his truth. And part of his truth is, yeah, I got burned in my last divorce. I don't know if I ever want to do that again. The guy tells you sometime in the first couple of weeks that he never wants to get married again, and you keep seeing him, that's on you.
Claro, and that's the problem. We end up dating the guy for, many months and sometimes many years. And at the end, when you break up because he's not going to give you what you want and need, you say, what a fucking asshole. He made me lose my time. And he gave you all the signs and symbols all along, but you just chose not to see it. So it's on you.
Well, this is the hard part is, and I'm a coach for women. If I coach men, I have a different way of approaching it. But somehow women expect men to take care of their hearts. Where you're responsible for your heart. It's not his job to do something that is going to undermine his happiness. Like him breaking up with you because he may never marry you. This doesn't make any logical sense. Well, he should. He should? So it's always up to you to pay attention to what he's giving you. It's not his job to push you out the door and say, don't waste your time with me. So I think what happens is we overlook those things, and it's normal because people are optimists. We're driven by attraction and hope and wishful thinking, right? And I always have a saying, and no man is real until he's your boyfriend. He's hope, fantasy, projection, and potential. So you meet someone that excites you for the first time in a long time, and he could probably tell you, I hate women. And you'll be like, okay, but not all women, right? And he'll be like, no, not all women, not you. And then you'll stay. And then one day you'll discover that he's a misogynist, even though he told you right up front what his issues were. And then, but by that time you're hooked. That's the problem. A bad relationship is good 75% of the time. It's 25% too much bad.
Yeah.
So we cling to, oh, we have such a connection. But if you don't feel safe in the relationship, if you don't feel like you're on the same page and are on the same trajectory, it doesn't matter how much fun you had on that vacation, or that he told you that he loved you, or that you had amazing sex the other night. None of those things matter, but we cling to them as if they do.
So one thing that's on the script is the problem of how we tend to misinterpret men's behavior.
I think, I want to figure out how to say this delicately. I think it's easy to give too much meaning to something that was just of the moment, right? And again, I could already feel the pushback from it. But if he said he loved me, doesn't that mean he would love me forever? No, it means at this moment he said he loved you. That's not a promise for the rest of your life. You might want it to be a promise for the rest of your life, but at this time, while we're on vacation, after we're in bed, and I say I love you, I mean it. I'm not lying. It just doesn't mean everything that you think it means.
No, and also you tend to ignore the actions, and I love that phrase, actions speak louder than words, and you hold on to the words.
Right. So this one time he said he couldn't live without me. This one time he said he wanted to be with me forever. Again, at that time, I'm sure he meant it. But if, months and years from now, you're fighting half the time you're together, it almost doesn't matter how good it was at that one moment, at that one time in the first 3 months you were dating, right? Let's pay attention to what he is now, not just the potential he presented when he was being a good boy in the first few months, which is the only way he could get with you, is to be really, really nice up front. No one's gonna act like a jerk up front. So everybody comes on really strong at the beginning to make a strong first impression, to let you know they're interested, to sweep you off your feet. And it doesn't mean they're liars. It doesn't mean they're bad. It's the same way that you go in for a job interview. You gotta get the job. But it doesn't mean every employee is a good employee just because someone gets a job.
Of course.
Who feel really strongly about the connection you have with a guy. I could talk to the guy. He'd say you have a connection, right? The problem is that the connection, the chemistry itself, doesn't necessarily portend a future. It is just a connection. So the way we evaluate men in Love You is not on, did I have the strongest connection with him, which is lovely. It's how quickly did he follow up after the date to say he wanted to see me again? How quickly after meeting him does he say he wants to pull down his dating profile and be in a relationship? Is this relationship escalating? Is he making a greater, intense effort to call me, make plans with me, see me platonically, meet my friends and family? If he's driving that forward, well, now we have something in addition to a connection. But any guy could show up once a week, charm the pants off you, and then text you 2 weeks later. And that is not a relationship worth having, no matter how strong you feel. There's something that women come to accept in relationships, which is unacceptable. And we talk about it in Love You as the normalization of deviance, meaning something is broken and we treat it as normal. So because we don't want to rock the boat, because we're afraid to move on, break up, afraid we can't do better, afraid of dating, afraid of getting divorced, because of all these fears that guide us and the attraction that got us there, we normalize behavior that's unacceptable. The guy who stays out all night, right? The guy who goes multiple days without connecting with you, even though you're in a relationship, the guy who stops having sex, the guy who verbally abuses you or makes you feel bad about yourself, the guy who gives you the silent treatment for a couple days. Right? And we take these things as normal, right? But it's deviant, it's broken behavior, and you can't have a happy relationship with this kind of behavior present. But we do so under the guise of connection. So this isn't exactly the same as emotionally unavailable, but it is the same as identifying the kind of men who aren't capable of making a woman happy for the next 40 years. So they're not inherently bad men, but there's plenty of good guys who don't make for very good husbands, and that's what we're talking about here. How do you feel in the relationship? And if your relationship is draining you rather than lifting you, it's not serving its purpose. What's the point of having a boyfriend if your boyfriend makes you anxious? If you don't know how to have a conversation with him without it turning into a screaming match or breaking up, without having to talk to your friends, what do I say to him? What is the point of that? That's not living.
Yeah. So, can you be in a relationship? Because this is another fantasy that we tend to do, especially if we are innate rescuers. You feel that you're going to crack the nut open, and that with your love and with your nurturing, you will make him available and you will make him the person that you need him to be.
You know, you already answered the question, right? I mean, just in stating that, you've answered the question. Is there any good evidence? Is there any track record of a woman cracking the nut and turning a selfish man into a selfless man, a commitment phobic man into a commitment oriented man, a angry man into a patient man? Does it have any track record anywhere? So maybe there's an example, and maybe you could pull, oh yeah, this one girl I know, her husband was in jail and she reformed him with her kindness, but is that really the chance you want to take? So I look at relationships like this. However your relationship is right now, that's it for the rest of your life. Let's assume that you've been dating for 9 months. The first 3 were great. It's kind of gone a little downhill since there. And you're wondering, this is kind of stressful. I wish he changed this and this and this and this. And I'm going to try to work with him because I love him and I'm patient with him and I'm going to want him to get a job and I want him to be more respectful of my boundaries and I want him to be more sensitive to my needs. And we're going to go to couples counseling and da-da-da-da-da. Oh my God, how much fucking work is that? Right? So I just let everybody know, if you wouldn't want to be in this relationship as it is for the next 40 years, go find someone else where it's easier. And if that means you're single for a long time, that's fine. Raise the bar. Because if you settle on mediocre to difficult relationships, that's what your whole life is going to look like. Martha, again, without indicting you, without knowing that much about you, you've been married before. How long were you with him when you knew things weren't good?
5 years.
5 years you suffered through that. Did he change?
Never.
But you're so amazing. How could someone like you not transform him? How could he not appreciate how wonderful you are?
Exactly.
Right? This is universal. This is from the Martha Debayles to anybody else who's listening. This is universal. You can't have a relationship. You could quote this one. You can't have a relationship with someone dependent upon them changing for you.
Okay. Final thoughts before we say goodbye, my friend.
The type of man we're talking about, this emotionally unavailable type, is also known as avoidant. Someone who claims to want intimacy but doesn't actually act like someone who wants intimacy. Avoidant people are to be avoided. The goal is not to get embroiled with them and hope that your magical connection is going to transform him. It's to only date people who are secure and good communicators and relationship oriented and naturally on the same trajectory. If your relationship requires too much work, there's a good chance you're in the wrong relationship.
I adore you. Este hombre, Evan Marc Katz, es muy famoso en Estados Unidos porque tiene un curso en video que dura 6 meses. Y como les he dicho siempre, si quieren tener lo que pocas tienen, tienen que estar dispuestas a hacer lo que muy pocas harían. Échense el curso con él, porque él se dedica a ayudar a mujeres inteligentes, fuertes, exitosas, a encontrar el amor de su vida y entender a los hombres desde otro ángulo. So I'm telling them about your course. If they go into evanmarkkatz.com, that's where all the information on the Love You course is.
Yeah, I want to share one more thing because, you and I have a relationship and I've been here before. We just redid the website in April. There's 1,500 blog posts, 200 podcasts. There's a ton of free information on there. If you have a dating and relationship question, it's probably been answered at some point. And Love You is now filled with a whole bunch of Martha Debayle listeners who've come to us, filled out the application on our website. And it's not just a video curriculum. You're getting 2 hours of coaching every single week. You have access to a private Facebook group of other smart, strong, successful women. So it's not just knowledge, it's the implementation of knowledge. It's the support network of other people who have been stuck and made bad decisions with men in the act of transforming themselves. So that's my I could give away tons of free information and you can enjoy it. But if you really want to make a big change in your life, go to evanmarkkatz.com. If you don't even know where to begin, just take the quiz on the homepage and we'll send you the information that you need.
My friend, I send you a big kiss all the way to LA. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Take care. Take care.